Hello, everybody, and welcome to lesson 4, where this is now the fourth concept that we're gonna be learning in programming. So, lesson 4 is about repetitions. So, one of the major thing that the computer can do is to do something on repeat. That is why, if you think of robots replacing humans, perhaps like why use robots? Because maybe robots does not get tired. Okay, because they can do repetitive things, and that doing the same thing all over and again could be more efficient, and that we're gonna learn how to make an efficient way how to run code again and again. Okay, so today we're gonna learn in Python how to write the for and while loop. And what are these? Okay, so we call them loops. So we're gonna learn for loop, while loop, and the nested loop. Okay, so again, part of making decision is in previous class we checked each decision like in the conditional statement. So if this is true, am I gonna do this? And as well, part of daily thing is that when we make a plan, we need to think about it over and over again. Or we could execute some things that are repetitive that you don't need to do it again and again. Okay. Still, we're gonna be utilizing the Boolean data type true or false. Okay. And the different operators that will help us make this. Okay. So repeat, repetition. Okay. So there are many ways or different scenarios of repetition. It could be in the picture number 1 from the left. It could be that we're repeating it forever. So it keeps running and running and running, and does it stop? Do you think a computer can stop? It can, and we'll figure it out later. So it's like infinite. It could be that we need to repeat only a certain number of steps. It could be like if we would like to go to first floor to the second floor, okay, how many steps do we need to take there? It could be 5. Or imagine an elevator and with different floors. Okay. And some type of loop could be nested. So if you play a running or cars, usually the game goes to the loop or the racetrack, but they don't have to do it only once. It could be on the same track. They have to repeat it maybe for 10 laps and so on, but they're going to repeat the same thing, and that's the idea of nested loop. Okay. So suppose we would like to print or to show hello world for 6 times. So how are we gonna show it? So it could be like, right, like we're gonna just write print hello world for 6 times. But how about 60 times? Then we can just copy and paste for 60 times. But how about 600 times, 6,000 times, or 6 million times? Gonna repeat through that. So it wouldn't be efficient if we keep doing the same thing over and over again. That is why we have a loop, and with the use of loop, we just write one time because it's the same thing. We just write one time hello world and repeat it for 6 million times. Okay, so the first loop that we're gonna introduce is for loop. So if I want to print hello world for 6 times, then I can just do it in 2 lines of code. So for I in range from 0 to 6, I'm going to print hello world. Okay, so when we mean repetition statement is a structure that allows a set of instructions to be repeatedly executed. Either you can specify how many number of times, or could be a certain condition. until maybe we keep waiting for the bus until it arrives. But for example, we know that there's a specific time that it will arrive, let's say at 3 p.m. Then we know until when are we going to wait, and we keep doing so. Again, loops are very essential to automate tasks and how we efficiently process data. Okay, in Python there are two types of loop, the for and the while loop. So let's start with for loop. So the difference between the two, though they're the same, is that a for loop could be like, you know how many times you'd like to repeat it. But while loop, it could depend on the situation. Could be taking a while, depends on the situation. But the thing is, both of them are used to repeat. Okay. So we have here the function range. So the purpose of the function range is to, if you observe the numbers, okay. So if I say range 10, it's 10 times. And the numbers are starting from 0, since computer starts actually counting at 0 and we count starting at 1. Humans start counting at 1. Okay. But overall, since we include 0, so that's 10. But for range, we can as well change where do we want to start. Could be I don't want to start at 0, I want to start at 1 and end at 10. Okay, look carefully. So for range, you can just put how many times, the number of times you want to repeat. So it's 10 times and it starts at 0. Could be I would like to start at 1 and end in here, and automatically it keeps adding 1. So here are the values. Or it could be I like to do the start and end, and remember the staircase that you can, because in here, okay, some or normally we just take one step at a time. So it will take us maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. But some people maybe take 2 steps at a time, and it will only take them 3.5, oh no, 2.5 times. Or it could be, if it's really a giant step, it could only take 1. So that's another use of range, wherein you can specify the number of steps. So in here, I start at 1, I step for 8, so the next number is 9, and since I'm already in the limit that it only ends at 10. And in here, normally it goes upward, or the numbers increase. But if you'd like to go back, then that's -1. But in here, it will only print 1, since if a -1, it becomes -2, right? Oh no, -1 should be 0, but it will be -1, so this won't make sense. Okay. Another example. So if you'd like to start from bigger number, let's say 10, until 0. So normally we add 1, but if you'd like to go backwards, then you need to add the start, the end, and since going backwards, the -1. So this will show 10, 9, 8 until 1, because we end at 0. Okay. So flowchart. So when we do repeat or loop, we need to start a condition. Where do we start? We start counting, right, at 1 or 0. Okay. And we need to set a condition like, okay, if it's true, do I need to keep doing this? And if yes, then do the action. After you do the action, you check again, do I still have to repeat it? And if it's still true, then we have to repeat it again and again until such time we meet the condition that it's no longer true, so it's false. So we have to finish the execution. Okay. So this is the syntax for loop. So we use the keyword for, And in here we have any variable, so it could be any variable that we want to use, as long as there's not keywords in the keyword in and the range of what. So case number one is that we can set where to start and where to end the counting. Okay, so for example here, I would like to print hello world for 6 times, so with for loop, okay, I can just say for I, or it could be for A, or it could for B, or it could be anything. Here it should be anything that will represent temporarily the value of range, and print hello world. Okay, see, you can set just how many times, or you can set where to begin and where to end, or you can change the number of steps. Okay, and in the future we're going to explore another use of for loop. It's still the same, but instead of range we're going to do iterable. Okay, so we have another type of loop, what we call while loop. So while loop is still the same. You're going to set where the start, and while this condition is true, then what are you gonna do? So like the if conditional statements, we need to indent in. Okay, the thing about while loop versus for loop is that for loop is only knows that I need to repeat this, keep on repeating. While loop, it's still a repetition, but with more advanced decision, because it's not just about numbers, it could be depending on the situation. So you can change or do whatever in the condition. Okay, so in here, if you use for loop, we're gonna do this, but if you use the while loop, we're gonna do this. Why? Because okay, I say I start at 0, and while I is less than 6, which is right now, I is 0, less than 6 is true, so I'm gonna print it. And then since to keep moving forward, we keep on adding 1 to increment the count. So previously I is 0 and we added 1, so right now I will be 1. So you need to go back again, repeat, and this time I will now be 1. Is 1 less than 6? Yes, it's true, so I need to print hello world again, and this time my I is 1 and I add 1, so that makes it 2, and I repeat again, check. So this time my I is 2. Is it still less than 6? Yes, so I print again hello world, and this time 2 add 1, so it becomes 3, and I check again until we reach, let's say, 5. So we have here 3 plus 1 will be 4, and repeat again, 4 plus 1 equals 5. So if we repeat, 5 is still less than 6, right? So we keep printing hello world, and now that I is 5 and we add 1, then it's 6. So when we repeat and we do 6 less than 6, it's no longer true, false, so we will no longer print it, and we just finish. Okay, so remember the infinite. So actually computer cannot stop if you want them to do it forever, but in some case, let's say the machine is broken, of course you need to stop, take a break, or after that you can resume, you can continue. So here, break, you can stop the loop, that instead of making it go forever, or though I say I need to repeat it 100 times, but when I already see that it's already good, then I can break it. Or if it's still not, I already set 100, but it's still not enough, so I need to continue maybe further to 500. Okay, so I'm going to show a demonstration and how we write it. Okay, so you just need to add another file again, and this will be lesson 4.py. Okay, so we have the for loop, So let's say for X, A, I could be anything, but usually they use I because it starts for index, which means the position, something like that. Okay, so but I will just say for count. In range, let's say I want to repeat it for 10 times. And for 10 times, I'm going to print Python. Yep. Save it, and you can run it through here. So I can see that there should be 10. You can count it. But if you really want to make sure that there's 10, so you can print the count as well. So in here we can see that it will start at 0. Okay. But there's still 10, or if you want that, start counting at 1 till 10. So expect there's only 9. Let me save it first. Okay. See? Or 100. So you don't need to keep on writing Python for 100 times. You just set in the range. Okay. And let's say I want to do it at each 10 steps. So how many Python should we see here? You can guess. Okay, so let's see. So since we have steps 10 each time, so there should be only, I think, 9 steps. 9 Python 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 11. Because 1 2 3 4, yeah, should be 10. Okay. Yeah, so that's the for loop, and it could be just, it's a set of instructions, so you can add here like do other things for 100 times. Okay. And yep, we have the while loop. Okay. So for while loop, okay, I can check that while true. While it's true, then I can just print programming. And this is what we call the forever loop. So in here, it does not stop, because while true, or it could be this is forever. But can we stop it? Okay, so we can stop it. Let's just say, okay, stop. Oh, it's not stopping. Okay. So that it will stop, then I just close it. Okay. So let's just say we have here a counter, and the counter starts at 0, and that if our counter reaches, let's say, 100, then we're going to break. And that when we're going to break, then we can say, after we execute the while loop, then you can say print end of the cycle. Okay, so I need to run again. So, but counter, still it does not stop. If you see here, it keeps running, because counter will never be 100. It will always be 0. So what we're gonna do is that maybe increase counter by 1, so it changes. And that, okay, when counter, okay, I'm just going to stop it. Okay, and run again. I know. Okay, here. So it exited. End of the cycle, since our counter reaches 100. Or if you want to show what's the value of counter, then we can do that as well. So counter starts at 1 because we add 1, so count from 0 to 1, and since it reaches 100, then we can stop it. Okay. And same goes for continue. So continue, what happens with continue is that if a certain condition is, for example, okay, we have here a for loop, okay, for I in range 10. So usually we're going to print I. Let's just say that. But then if I, let's say, will be 5, we'll just continue. Okay. Observe what happens. So we don't have 5 because what it does instead of, so it should be line 1, 2, 3, 4. But since when I is 5, so you continue, so you don't do the rest of it. So line 4 will not be executed but comes back again to from the beginning. Because I just need to continue. So continue is like skip that. I don't need to do the rest of the things there. I just keep going and maybe go to the next batch instead of going through the whole process. Okay, so that is continue. And okay, going back here, so we have nested loop is that it's a loop within a loop. So okay, we have initial condition and we have to repeat this, and within this action we need to do things over and over again as well. And yep, we keep repeating. And okay, so we keep repeating and repeating until we finish it. And if I already finished, check again if we have to do it again and again. So if it is, they'll do it again and again and again. Okay, until such time we finish it. So in here, for example, okay, when they finish the first loop, they need to check, do we need to do the second lap and again and again and again. So nested loop will look like this. So how many times will this repeat? Let's say for I in range 5, and again for each time I will repeat in range 5. So how many, let's say, hello should we see? Okay, so let's see. So in here there should be 25, because for 5 times we're gonna do it 5 times, so 5 times 5. So this is a nested loop, and you can keep going for maybe for each time you keep doing it again, so it's a nested for loop. Okay, so I think that's it for repetitions. And to do some practice, okay, I have here some problems. So for example, we would like to show numbers from 1 to 15 using loop, though usually 1 to 15 by using a loop. Okay, so I'll just give one example. So I can say I can number or n in range, I start counting at 1 until 15, right? And I print n. Okay, let's see. So, verse 15. Always remember that the end number is not included, so we can add 1 to include it. Okay, that we have 1 to 15, and continue to do so with other problems as well. So how about 1, 3, 5, 7, 9? So only selected, not all of them. And more examples coming in. Okay, to practice with the for loop conditions. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And on the next, we'll proceed with lesson